Welcome everybody to a special episode of Two Dudes in a Movie. We have a bonus features today where we are going to talk about the show that I just recently finished. Everyone, AJ and but Paul beat me to it, but I just finally finished Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
So we're going to sit around today and talk about that. And the format of the show was we're going to talk through each season, the arcs and everything, the powerful moments, special, the characters and all that. And then we're going to get into some questions where we ask, where we talk about the show and generalities. So let's start with season 1, boys. What do you guys think? Or what did you guys think?
Yeah, for me, season 1, it kind of took a while to get interesting. Like, Ezra wasn't really that, I don't know, he was too little for me personally at the beginning.
How old was he, like 12 or something?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12, 13 maybe. But yeah, for me, he was a little too young and a little babyish. And obviously, like, he turns into a great character. So I'm just talking about strictly season 1 right now. But like long-haired Ezra for me was just a little bit babyish, and rightfully so. I mean, if he really was that age, whatever. But so I don't know. Like, it took me a while to invest in the show. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know exactly what point it was that I was like, okay, this works and I like this. But for a while, it took me a hot minute to get into it.
Yeah, I get that, because I guess my initial feeling at first was I was more okay with like Ezra being young. Like, I look back now and I'm like, I kind of enjoyed that. But to me, it was more Star Wars, I guess, is what I wanted. Because The Mandalorian had just ended. We had this break between that and Clone Wars season 7. So, I mean, it was I know Rebels finished a while ago, but it was a good kind of middle ground.
Right.
If I remember correctly, the final arc in that season is when Kanan fights the Grand Inquisitor.
Yes.
Right. And he actually, I didn't think he was going to. So, spoiler alerts, if you haven't seen Rebel, we're going to be spoiling the crap out of this. But
Sure.
I didn't think he was actually going to kill the Grand Inquisitor.
Dude, yeah.
Like, I thought he was going to get away, then he was just going to disappear for a while. But he actually killed him. And that was kind of cool. Because being like a Disney show, and
yeah, dude,
for kids, like, I don't know, I didn't expect that. And so I think that's when it kind of really jumped at me. Obviously, I was hooked before that a little bit, but I mean, I was like, dang, all right, they're gonna do some stuff.
Right. Yeah, I think the bad guys were part of the reason that the show worked for me.
Yeah,
just because there were several really good bad guys who were very, very clever, very, very smart, and they didn't always they weren't easily defeated, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
The Inquisitor being one of them. He was kind of the the early on version of Thrawn a little bit, obviously with a lightsaber. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool arc at the end. Kanan, for me, ended up being my favorite character.
I agree.
He was the reason I liked the show, and he was the one who carried season 1, I think, before Ezra became interesting. And so that's why I think, going back to my original problem with the show early on, I think that's what saved it for me was Ezra. Was not Ezra, sorry, was Kanan. Ezra.
Kanan was really cool. And then him being a Padawan. Because he hadn't gotten to the level of Jedi Knight yet. So that was an interesting twist in there, because he brought that up a couple times, that there was only so much that he knew,
right? Because
he was a Padawan when it all ended. But another one of the big characters, recurring one, was a bad guy, Agent Kallus. He was introduced in this season.
Yeah.
He was kind of like one of the main guys.
I like Kallus a lot, and I like that he came back around like later in the show.
Yep,
in a cool way. No, so I think who's you guys probably top 3 favorite characters, I guess.
Ooh,
that's my question. That might be a question for later, but I'm kind of curious now.
So Kanan 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Paul, what's your number 1?
Oh, my number 1. I don't know. You keep going. I'm still contemplating.
Okay. I'm gonna go Kanan 1. Darth Maul 2.
Wow, Darth Maul. Okay.
Maybe. Okay. He's really fun and really interesting. I liked him a lot.
Who's your number 3?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I like Ezra a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
I like Chopper a lot.
Yeah.
I like Thrawn a lot. I think he was really great.
It was cool having just like a smart villain in Star Wars.
Dude.
I'm gonna say Zeb though. I'm gonna say Zeb.
Zeb?
I like Zeb a lot. I'll go Zeb number 3.
Did you say your number 2 was?
I'll go Kanan 1, and then number 2 I'll kind of have like a bad guy duo. I'll go Darth Maul and Thrawn just because I like both of them. I don't necessarily want to pick one.
You're not gonna say Obi-Wan Kenobi for the one episode?
I do. I do love Obi-Wan. Don't get me wrong. If I could, I would vote for him, but I don't feel like that would be very, very fair to the show.
That's okay.
But I do like him. And then number 3, I'll go Zeb. I like Zeb a lot. He's probably my favorite character in like the original cast.
Yeah.
Besides Kanan.
Okay. I think mine are pretty easy. I thought about this earlier, but Kanan 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is Sabine. I like Sabine a lot.
Sabine's cool.
Yeah.
Number 3 is probably, I think if Ahsoka had more screen time, because I really liked her in Rebels.
Yeah, I do too. She's cool.
I'd say she'd be 3, but I'm going to say Ezra is number 3 because I thought he was all right. I think I just grew attached to him. He's kind of the guy you're like, God, you're an idiot sometimes, but I still love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is interesting for sure. I like Ezra. He's not as annoying as I thought he was going to be early on. Like I thought he was going to be very Frodo or even Anakin-esque.
Anakin-esque.
Not quite that bad, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like there was potential for him to go that direction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
He didn't go that far. Like he was never that annoying to me, but he continued to get better all the way to season 4. He was awesome.
Yeah. Paul, what about you?
So for me, I'm gonna go full Darth Maul. Was my favorite character of the whole show.
Yeah, let's go,
dude.
Love Darth
I
Maul.
love Darth Maul.
Red lightsaber boy.
Red lightsaber, bro. And I'm honestly rewatching all of the Darth Maul episodes in Clone Wars right now.
Yes.
But my number 2 is Ezra, like season 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Because I really like maybe more 3, 4 season. And then my third character would be Chopper, dude. He's great. He's the man.
Dave Filoni,
man.
He is great.
But I love just the whole entire OG crew of Kanan, Hera, Sabine,
I like Hera
Zeb.
a lot. I think she's great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say my honorable mention is Rex.
Dude, yeah. Throw the clones in there.
I think he's a great callback from the Clone Wars. I'm a huge Clone Wars fan, but he's great. I liked him a lot. So season 2 is where Darth Vader shows up, right? Early on in that season.
I think the first episode is the clones. It's where we get the clones
show up. Yeah. I think it's Vader and the clones early.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a site right here with all the episodes listed. And then Ahsoka shows up about halfway through.
Oh yeah, because at the end of season 1, like Hera's got this spy that she won't say who it is, and it ends up being Ahsoka. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then this is the episode where Callus and Zeb this is the season where Callus and Zeb become friends, which kind of lays the seed for him.
That was a cool reoccurring theme, I think. Those two kind of like, because there's one point he says, tell Zeb like we're even or whatever after he helps.
For sure.
Yeah.
Ezra and whoever else get out of the Imperial base.
Yeah, and then the season finale of season 2 is Ahsoka versus Vader.
Ooh.
Which is
with Maul thrown in there.
Sweet episode.
Talk about pulling at the heartstrings.
One of my favorite episodes in the show, no doubt.
Well, that whole arc, like Maul returns.
Yeah.
And then you have that fight. And then you have something. Okay, so the weirdest thing I think Rebels did was do the flying Inquisitors where they'd put the lightsabers in here and they hover around.
Yeah.
That was a little strange for me, at least.
Yeah. It was weird.
Forgot about that.
No doubt.
But dude, you can't deny that some of those Inquisitors were dope.
They were really cool.
Like,
they were.
You love to hate them.
Princess Leia makes an appearance in season 2.
She does.
Yeah,
for a brief second.
Season 2 where Kanan becomes a Jedi Knight, where he's in the temple, and then the Grand Inquisitor was actually a temple guard.
Yes.
Back in the day, man, that was cool. They did a very good job of tying things like back in and like weaving all these threads. I felt like,
and he meets the guy whose name I always forget, who sounds like Dormammu.
Oh,
on the planet, you know what I'm talking about?
Bentu.
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 Yeah.
Dormammu.
I always think of Dormammu, but he meets him and he kind of trains him a little bit. He's a good character.
No, they did they messed a lot with like animals, creatures like being force sensitive because they did him. Sure. I thought there was something before, and then season 4 they have the wolves, which are super cool.
The
Loth cats.
Yeah.
Or they just keep showing up.
Like one of his force like powers is like with animals and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, they really explored a lot of stuff in the Force and just the Star Wars universe. I felt, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we all agree that the season finale is one of the best episodes in the whole show of season 2?
Season finale
of season 2. Is that where she fights Vader?
Yeah, they fight Vader. Yeah,
dude, that's a good episode because I even like the beginning of that episode because it's Maul like tricking Ezra to get the holocron.
Well, and he keeps calling him his apprentice, like the whole like
yeah. That was creepy.
There's like little strings that he keeps like plucking on a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
Does those like visions to him and stuff on their base planet?
That's just a thing Maul did with like even with Savage.
One of the coolest moments in the whole show for me is whenever Ahsoka looks at Vader and the mask is like partially
busted.
Yeah. Dude, that is one of the coolest things that Dave Filoni did in the show.
And you can like half hear.
Yeah, it was like dude, it's so good because it looks like Hayden Christensen a little bit. But it also looks like kind of the older Vader. But dude, that is a great shot. That so good. But,
and then how they leave you leave you there thinking did she die? Like what happened?
Yeah, 100%. Like we see her later on, right?
Yeah, season 4.
Yeah, so it's like we know that she makes it, but we don't know that
after saves her.
Yeah.
From like in that fate thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any other thoughts on season 2?
Nah, man, that was
Okay, so season 3, at the beginning of season 3 is Ezra and Maul with the holocron.
Yeah.
And then we go towards we have the droid episode where kind of a Clone Wars callback, which is really fun, where the droids are still like operating. Thrawn is introduced in this season.
Ooh.
And then the Darksaber comes into play for a while, and then the Geonosis with the Death Star and all that stuff kind of comes into play.
That was cool.
And then the end of the show is Mandalore with the twin suns, and then 0 Hour at the very, very end of season 3. But I'm going to go ahead and say that Twin Suns is my favorite episode of the whole show.
Which one is that?
That's the one with Darth Maul and Obi-Wan.
Oh
my gosh, that episode is so cool.
Where Obi-Wan ends him in like 5 seconds.
Such a good episode. But dude, so for me, my top 3 episodes of the whole show are probably the season 4 finale, so the last episode ever, and then the season 2 finale with the one we just talked about, Ahsoka and Vader, and then this episode that I'm talking about right now with Obi-Wan and Darth Maul.
This series really brought it with her finales. About every single one, I was just like,
for sure.
Because isn't it season 3 finale where Kanan dies?
Season 3 finale. Let me see.
Season 4. That's like 2 or 3 episodes before the finale.
Yeah, I think it's pretty late in season 4, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
The season 3 finale is when Fulcrum is discovered by Thrawn.
Huh, okay.
It's Callus.
Yeah.
And Thrawn becomes kind of the main bad guy.
Because he's the smartest man alive.
Dude. Yeah, got to give it up to Thrawn, man. He's one of those characters that, again, and that was a kind of a theme with this whole show of characters you love to hate. You respect the dude because he's like, most Star Wars anything, like the good guys always outsmart the bad guys. Whereas with this guy, like every little plan they came up with, you're like, oh yeah, that's a really good plan. And then like 5 minutes in, Thrawn's like, ha ha ha, suckers.
The end of this season is when the Mandalorian reinforcements show up.
And save him on the base.
And then Bendu uses the lightning to get him.
To become like Jesus for...
Yeah.
Bro.
Dude, Bendu is so powerful.
Maul had some... I was sitting there thinking, Paul, you mentioned the characters you love to hate. I was sitting there thinking, I was like, man, I don't know. It was like Maul one. But then for me, like his last words after Obi-Wan defeats him, after Obi-Wan sees he's going to go, Maul's going to go at him with the move that got Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon, dude.
Hits him.
Yeah.
And he countered it. That was pretty cool. But his final words were like, he says, tell me, is it the chosen one? Obi-Wan says, yes, he is. He says, he will avenge us all, or he will avenge us. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like,
dude, such a great scene. I just love that. That whole episode is awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Any other thoughts on season 3?
Nah, man. I think most of my thoughts lie with season 4.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel personally.
Yeah.
Okay, season 4. Early on, we got Mandalore, and then we have the rebellion kind of beginning to form. And then
the Mandalore episodes were dope too. Like with all the Mandalorians and everything.
Yeah.
And Sabine's family.
This one's mostly on Lothal.
Dude, yeah, this one's mostly on Lothal. The World Between Worlds episode is in this season.
Yep.
Which is one of my favorites also. I love that one. And then at the very end we have obviously Thrawn and Ezra's kind of final battle. But season 4 is, in my opinion, the best season top to bottom. Would you guys agree or disagree with that?
Oh, I agree for sure.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I mean, I would only disagree if I really looked at the breakdown of season 3. I really like season 3 really and 4. But yeah, I'd probably agree.
Season 3 is really, really, really good. But season 4 for me is better simply because of the ending.
Yeah.
There's some stuff on season 4 that I don't really like. Like some of the Lothal stuff is really dragged out. For me personally, it takes a little bit too long. Like I think they spent a little bit too many episodes on that kind of one arc.
Yeah.
But I like season 4 a lot. And honestly, let's be real, the finale, the last 2 episodes of season 4 are so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Luke, you're the one who watched it most recently. What were your thoughts or emotions at the very, very end?
The very, very end? Oh my gosh. Do we want to start with Kanan's death or the last episode?
I guess we should probably start there. That's probably a good place to start.
So I felt Kanan's death coming. 100%.
Yeah, and I mean he has to die, right? I mean in order for Ezra's character development to come full circle.
Yeah, because he went into first off, the wolves were super cool in this season. They're force sensitive ones. I thought they were sweet. The big white one and everything. Whenever Kanan went into the temple and he cut his hair and took his bandage face mask thing off and came out and he's refer to me as, did they tell him to call him Caleb, or I think he was still called Kanan. But
I think he tells him to call him Caleb to the very end.
Yeah, as soon as that happens, I was like, oh yeah, he's done for, because I think that's something I've seen in movies and other TV shows where it's they finally learn to just be free in themselves or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was his end. But the way I think this show really capitalized on making those moments super emotional and very each one of these big moments, like Kanan's death, where he stops the fire with the Force and then pushes Hera back whenever she's running at him. They do a great job of making those super emotional and everything.
Yeah.
And the last second, his sight returns and he can see her one last time. And I was like, oh my god,
yeah, so good.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Oh, so good.
That was beautiful,
dude. Yeah, I liked Kanan a lot, and then that last little arc of him just made me basically pushed him into my top number 1 favorite character on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and he fills that advisor role, that Gandalf, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda role.
Yeah.
And those kind of characters always have to die. in order for the main character actually to like succeed and actually become who they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like Obi-Wan, if he doesn't die in episode 4, then Luke obviously doesn't become who he needs to be, right?
Yeah, he doesn't move on to Yoda. And...
Yeah, exactly. So like Kanan's very much in that like master to apprentice role, but he knows that he's not the one, so he has to kind of, lay down his life for that. But yeah, super interesting that they killed him by like close to the end of the show, but not like on a necessarily like a big moment. Like to me, that feels like a season 3 finale or even like a mid-season finale, maybe. But they kind of it felt like they did that kind of randomly and like just a one-off episode. It kind of came out of nowhere. But,
yeah, because they're trying to like escape from Lothal or something or other, right? Isn't that when it? Or maybe escape from that battle.
Escape from the city, and then they go to the fuel tanks.
Yeah.
And that's where the ship lands and stuff, and then the governor says like shoot the tanks,
right?
And they're like it's gonna kill our people, and she's like do it anyway, so they do it, and then it blows up and he stops the fire, and then I'm crying, and then everyone else is crying, and then Kanan dies, and I'm pissed. For a second I didn't think he was gonna die for a second, and then he like later in the next episode he shows up as a Force ghost, like puts his hand like on Hera's shoulder. I was like, yeah, he is dead.
Dude, and that was a really cool bit too, to have where even though she's not Force sensitive, she like could feel him there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a really cool add-on.
My only complaint is that they just keep handing out the like Force Ghost thing to people. And I thought the Force Ghost thing was like, only a few people can become Force Ghosts, like it's like meant for like extremely like powerful Jedi.
I think they discussed that at some point in the show.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
they discussed that.
Like to me, Kanan's a great character, but he didn't deserve to be a Force Ghost. You know what I'm saying?
He was one of the voices too in episode 9.
Yeah, I remember that. That was cool. I mean, I'm glad that he was a part of that. But like, I don't know. I feel like the Force Ghost should be like the inner circle. Like it should be like a really like exclusive club, and they just keep handing it out like candy. So. Like Leia's a Force Ghost. Like what the dump? Come on.
Hey, she was a powerful Jedi.
Oh my gosh!
Supposedly.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about Leia. That's not why we're here.
We're talking about the finale.
Yeah, season 4 finale. Kind of, there's 2-episode arc. They go back.
It was a 40-minute episode.
Yeah, for sure. So him and Thrawn kind of have that like face to face showdown. And then obviously things go crazy and a lot of stuff happens. And then at the very, very end of the episode, that's when kind of Sabine has her like epilogue and whatever else happens. But so what are your thoughts just kind of briefly on that before we talk about kind of the show as a whole?
Well, so they're attacking because Thrawn had to go somewhere else because of some reason. So they're like, this is a good time to attack. And so they attack the city, then he makes it back, and all this stuff's going on. And then, like, a callback to earlier season, that is when Ezra has the whales come back. Like the hyperspace whales or whatever. The lightspeed whales.
Yep.
So that was really cool having them come back, because that's another example of the Force sensitive animals that I guess that'd be really Force sensitive, the whales.
I don't know. I don't know if the animals are Force sensitive or if that's just Ezra's power,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they just have the ability to jump to light speed.
Right.
But having them come back was really cool. And then I think what really paid a tribute to this is we get to see Ezra develop throughout the seasons as a Jedi.
Yeah.
So at this point, he had become decently strong, it seems. Like,
right.
Do you think he was probably close to becoming a Jedi Knight, like at this level, or do you think he was still a Padawan?
I think he's very much in the Obi-Wan episode 1, like level.
Yeah,
that's kind of the vibe. That's the vibe I got. I have any evidence for that or whatever.
Like a tier 1 Padawan kind of thing.
Yeah, I would assume that he's on that level, roughly close to going through the trials and becoming a Jedi Knight and all that. That's kind of where I assumed he was.
Yeah. But no, that was really cool because he was sitting there and the whales were like holding Thrawn, and then Ezra was holding back the door, but he was also making like Thrawn stay where he was. So it showed how like powerful he was, and then how much smarter he's gotten, just strategy wise and everything was really good. And then his sacrifice at the end was kind of sad, but we don't know. I don't think it was a sacrifice. I don't think it was a sacrifice though.
It's so tough. Like, I want to think that they both died, that him and Thrawn both die, and that's the penalty that he, like, basically Ezra, like, says that the rebellion will succeed if Thrawn isn't in the picture.
Yeah.
So he just takes him out of the picture.
Yeah.
But part of me also wants to believe that he, like, survived somehow. And obviously if he survived, then Thrawn survived. And if you read the books, like, there's a bunch of books.
Yeah, because there's
like the Thrawn trilogy. Well, it's like there's like a whole trilogy where Thrawn's like the main bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if those books are canon or not. I can't remember if they are on the list or not. But anyway, so there's a lot of different theories and stuff out there. But I kind of like the idea that he sacrificed himself for the like rebellion. But Paul, what do you think?
I don't know. I feel like they've talked. Dave Filoni's talked about doing another season. And they left it very open, which means to me that I don't feel like Ezra is truly dead. I feel like it could be a good way to bring back the World Between Worlds thing with like Ahsoka
for sure.
figuring that out and bringing him back. I feel like that would be
that episode.
Something, dude. That episode is crazy.
So is that the episode that proves that like Sidious manipulated the whole situation from like the very beginning?
I think so.
Maybe
that's like the way that he like created Anakin using the midichlorians and everything.
Possibly, yeah.
Created like himself, like again with all the clones and whatnot that he uses in episode 9.
Yeah,
dude, that's just crazy. I love that episode. I could talk about that episode for a long time.
It's that's
some weird space stuff,
dude. It is very out there. It's very multiverse.
Because I guess Ahsoka was going to die to Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But then Ezra saves her.
By accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, by accident. And then he was
which is in this episode we've already seen before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of Back to the Future stuff going on.
Uh-oh. Oh, my goodness.
I'll tell you guys what.
Okay, so we got about 10-ish minutes or so left. What are some questions that you guys have?
I got one.
Off the top of my head. You got one?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
How do we feel about the lightsaber that also shoots gun bullets?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That was weird.
Dude.
I did not like it. I didn't like it, but it grew on me because it fits his personality. And it fits his level. Like, and he's not a traditional Jedi either. So
true.
I didn't like it early on because I'm a purist, I love I don't know. But it works. It works for his character because he's very creative. He's very inventive.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a Jedi. I mean, he's not, right? He's just a guy who gets trained by another guy. But he turns into a Jedi eventually. And as he turns into a Jedi, he loses that kind of childish blaster lightsaber and kind of creates his own real lightsaber. But great question. Luke, what do you think?
It was I was in the same boat as you. At first I was like, don't like that one bit. Yeah. And then I saw like some of the pictures from the later season. I saw they change it and I was like, oh, thank the Lord.
Yeah. What did you guys think about Sabine being the one to do the epilogue at the end? That felt weird for me. Like it felt like a more of a Hera thing.
It was fitting for me. She is one of the, besides Kanan, she was probably the most connected with Ezra. They were kind of
I feel that.
Down to earth on the same level, closer in the age and everything. And
well,
I feel that.
I also felt like there was a little bit of a love connection there too.
100%.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I felt. It felt very Anakin and Padme-esque. I assumed she was older, right, the whole time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the vibe that I got the whole time, that she wasn't really taking him seriously until near the end of the show. And then it was too late at that point for her to it was too late for her at that point.
Yeah.
To express her feelings.
That does make a lot of sense. To me, she seemed about 5 years older than Ezra, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Like whenever he was like 13, she was probably 18.
That's fair.
In her mid-20s by season 4, or I guess early 20s.
Did you like get the vibe that she liked him for a long time, or just for like a little bit? Like she didn't really realize it until the very end or near the end. You know what I'm saying?
I think it was something that developed over time. Like they gave us or they gave I lost my train of thought. It developed over time. Yeah, it developed over time.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I like instantly the first time they met, I was like, oh, there we go. Like he's gonna like be too young and not. She's not gonna be interested, but he's gonna like wear her down, and eventually she'll fall.
Yeah.
For him. But it just never happened, and I was kind of glad that it didn't happen because it like I don't know, it kind of went against everybody watching the show assumed that's what's going to happen, right?
I thought this was on the love note as well. I thought Kanan and Hera were married the entire time.
I did too.
Until the last few episodes of the last season, they were like, he finally said "I love you" or something. I was like, whoa,
yeah. Like, that threw me for a loop. I literally was like, why are they making this like a romantic thing? I just assumed they were like married and like had been in love this whole time, and
that's probably one minor like whiff they have. Like if you want to call it a whiff, is just like they didn't do a good job developing that because it did feel like they were married the whole time.
Yeah, I just assumed that they were very subtle about like their romance and everything because they knew that they couldn't necessarily like be overly romantic because they were at like risk all the time. That's interesting. Any other questions, Luke, Paul?
Yeah. So, how do you compare this series to the Clone Wars?
Yeah, that was kind of one of my questions that I had written down. So for me, like I said, I'm a huge Clone Wars fan. I would give Clone Wars the edge.
Oh yeah,
over this show, personally. And honestly, the number one reason for me is Obi-Wan and Anakin carrying that show, carrying the Clone Wars. Dude, like, they're just so good. They're so interesting. They're such good characters. And in the show, they're so much better. Or at least Anakin is so much better in the show than he is in the movies.
I'll agree.
That's true.
So that's a huge win for the show.
Maybe to gauge how close they are, in your opinion, like maybe you give them a score out of 10.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe a 9 for Obi-Wan and an 8 or a 9 for Anakin. Like,
I mean, like the shows, like Clone Wars and Rebels.
Oh, okay. I would give Clone Wars like a 9-ish, 8.5-ish, and I'd give Rebels a 7.5 or an 8-ish, somewhere in there. I like Rebels a lot. Like, I was blown away with it at the end. Like, I had very low expectations for it, and it actually really impressed me in a lot of ways. But yeah, I would give Clone Wars the slight edge because of the Anakin Obi-Wan relationship. I think personally that the Clone Wars time period is better and more interesting.
It's more interesting for sure
than the Rebels time period, just because there's a lot more happening. There's such a wide universe of things that are going on. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Paul, what would you give out? Rate those two.
Score-wise, I'm probably actually the exact opposite of AJ as far as the scoring goes. So like 8.5, 9 on Rebels, 7.5, 8 on Clone Wars. Because I love the fact with Rebels that it was a complete new cast of characters.
Yeah.
That cool, I love Anakin and Obi-Wan. I'm not really disagreeing with AJ, but I enjoyed the new factor, I guess. I think another thing for me,
it doesn't rely on those old characters, for the show. Like it builds an entirely new show.
Like, I mean, if let's say, because when is Rebels supposed to be set between? It's supposed to be set between like, is it before 4?
5 or 10 years before 4.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, if we had more of like Leia or some of the senators or
Lando's in it too.
Lando's in it a little bit. I mean, if we had more of that, I think it would have hurt the show.
Yeah, and like Mon Mothma's in there a little bit. Bail Organa's in there a little bit.
Yeah, but like if we'd have made it a focus,
not necessary to the show.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to me that they're like the rebels, but they're not a part of the Rebel Alliance until the end.
They're still senators, right?
Right.
No, but what I'm saying is like the cast that we follow around in seasons 1 and 2, and even season 3 mostly.
Yeah.
Like they're not actually a part of the Rebel Alliance yet. Like I would assume that the show called Rebels would literally be about like the Rebel Alliance, and they're gonna walk us all the way up to episode 4. That's not what happens at all. So
yeah, it was more about building the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah. The show felt very like AJ, I know you haven't seen it yet, but Firefly. It's kind of what it felt like to me.
Yeah,
which is super definitely. Cool. Some of the characters kind of matched and everything. It was exciting. But so I'm gonna break this down real quick. Oh well, here's my scores. I'll give Clone Wars like a 9. I'll say Rebels was like an 8, if not like 8.5. They're very close for me. I like them both like almost equally. But so I have a question. So I'm going to break it down like this. So you have the prequels. Then you have 4, 5, 6, the OGs.
Yep.
You have the sequels. You have the Clone Wars and Rebels. Like what order would you put those in? Like to your favorite, like I guess series / arcs or whatever. But as a storyline, I guess.
That's really tough.
So like rank them, like you're saying, like
1 to 5. So
like,
you've got the 3 original trilogy, or the 3 trilogies, and then the 2 TV shows.
Or like, what order would you put those in? Like, would you say like sequels is your favorite? Second favorite was like Star Wars, the Clone Wars, the television series. Then it's like their OGs, and then it's this.
Okay,
like
I got you.
I'm gonna go OG 1.
OG's number 1. Okay.
Clone Wars 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Rebels 3. Holy crap! I'm gonna say Rebels 3. Rebels 3, sequels, prequels.
Sequels, you like the
better than the prequels?
As a series, I like 7, 8, and 9 better than 1, 2, and 3.
I'm surprised.
I like 3 the most. The third movie is my favorite movie. I've said this many times on the show.
Yeah.
But the trilogy itself is the weakest. Collectively, and it's not really an argument, in my opinion. The Clone Wars.
I figured you were going to fight for Obi-Wan.
Far superior. I love Obi-Wan. Don't get me wrong. No, I feel like the Clone Wars show is far superior to the prequel trilogy.
I agree with that.
But what do you guys think? So my 5. There you go. So I got originals, Clone Wars, Rebels, sequels, prequels.
Okay. Paul, I'll let you go next.
Okay, so mine, I'm going to go in reverse order. 5 is the prequels, and then 4 is the Clone Wars,
okay,
and then 3 is the sequels, 2 is Rebels, and then 1 is OG.
OG, okay. All right, my 5 is also going to be different.
Nice,
interesting.
So I'm going to start from number 1 because it's easier for me to go that way. But one is the Clone Wars TV show.
Wow. Holy cow.
2 is Rebels.
Holy cow.
Dang.
3 is prequels.
Whoa, okay.
Or 4 is OG.
Interesting.
And 5 is sequels.
Wow.
You poop on the sequels just because of episode 8.
Hey, man, it is what it is. Like, I enjoy, like, overall, I enjoyed I enjoyed all the movies except for 8.
Well, in Star Wars, like it's like ranking the Marvel movies. Something has to be last, right? I mean,
yeah, that's just kind of how it is.
Interesting. That's crazy. You have Clone Wars number 1. I would never put a TV show ahead of the original trilogy, personally. But I put Clone Wars second for sure. I mean, I would put it ahead of the other 2 trilogies for sure.
Well,
I would put both TV shows ahead of the other 2 trilogies.
Yeah.
Personally. Okay, best character we haven't talked about yet. So no Kanan, no Ezra, Sabine. I talked about Zeb a little bit, but best character we haven't talked about yet.
You said Rex too.
Talked about Rex. Talked about Thrawn. Talked about Maul a little bit. Talked about Ahsoka a little bit.
Let's see. I'm looking at a list of the characters.
So I'm gonna have to do that too
or
dive deep.
How about this? Let's say favorite pre-existing character who makes an appearance in the show. and not like based on their character alone, but based on their appearance in the show. Like my favorite character in the show is Obi-Wan, but he's not necessarily my favorite appearance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I got one that is kind of and it may be, I liked I don't remember what his name was. I think it's AP5 is the other droid that they like turn from being a Imperial droid.
Yes.
And him and Chopper's relationship is like very C-3PO R2-D2.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so funny. And
he's a great character.
He's like the inventory droid or whatever, and dude, it's so funny. And then they like take him on missions, and he's like trying to tell Chopper what to do, and oh, dude, it's so funny. Yeah. Like where they go on like one mission, he's like, I know more about this Imperial ship that we're on than you do, so I'm in charge, and all this stuff.
Yeah,
he's a great character.
Oh shoot, can I say Zeb? I like Zeb a lot.
Zeb was very good.
His arc he had was pretty cool, where because the whole time you think he's just kind of like the big oaf on the ship, but then you find out that like he was actually like a legit leader on his planet, and then when they find the other people like him and stuff, and they go back to their planet, and it was like this big secret, and his staff like plugged into the ship, and they got him through it. That was really cool. So I think Zeb, because he shows his smarts every once in a while, and him and Ezra, their back and forths were pretty good.
I got another one.
I'll say Zeb.
I'm gonna say Hondo.
Dude, that's who I was gonna say.
I love Hondo. He's such a great character. I was trying to think of his name.
He's one of my
Hondo. He's one of my favorite characters in the Clone Wars, and then they brought him back, and him and Ezra like hit it off.
Yeah,
and I just love that, like, because like Obi-Wan and Hondo kind of hit it off in like a weird way in the Clone Wars. Yeah, and then him and Ezra are like the same person basically, and it's just really funny that they
Ezra really always believed these shady figures in the show. He was like the first to trust all these shady people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's fun. He's a good character. I like Lando a lot. He was kind of a fun little character to have in there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, last one I saw on this going through is I like how they threw in Wedge. Wedge's character, like as an Imperial pilot, trainee, and things like that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Any other questions, guys?
Let
me think here.
So I have one. Something that got brought up in one of our main episodes a while back was that I said I feel more of attachment to these characters in Rebels than I did the sequels characters. Do you guys agree with that on any level, or?
I really like Rey and I really like Kylo.
Rey and Kylo were awesome, yeah, for sure.
But other than those two, like Kanan and Ezra are right there. Like, and honestly, like episode 9, and it's episode 9, so it's kind of the finale climax of the whole series. But Kylo and Rey, just for me, have a slight advantage over, like attachment wise, if that's what we're gonna base that off of. I would lean that direction.
Yeah. Okay.
Paul?
For me, I think, if we're pulling out individual characters, Kanan or Ezra over Kylo or Rey. Yeah, Kylo and Rey probably have a little bit of but if we're talking about like as a group, like a main cast of characters. So I mean, you've got Kylo, Rey, or Poe, Rey, Finn, even BB-8, Kylo, whatever, or Hera, Kanan, Ezra, Sabine. I like the Rebels group as a cast much more.
I would agree with that for sure. Top to bottom, I would say the Rebels cast is better.
Yeah,
like and the characters are stronger. Like it's a broader. Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. Just for me, man, Rey is such a compelling character.
Yeah.
And then Kylo, like his arc is so great. But I know Luke's going to say, but whatever.
Well, and I like the analogy you made with the Firefly. The symbolism or similar like group. Because it's very. I hadn't thought about that, but it's very similar, and I like that, and that's why I like Firefly too. So
that's right. AJ, you need to get on that. Watch Firefly.
Dude, it's been on my list for a hot minute.
Dude, it's only like
quick watch.
It's only like 12 episodes.
Like one season, yeah.
And then a movie.
What streaming service it's on, but it's on my list.
I have the
Blu-ray.
I think you've either both offered it to me or both given it to me, and I just have given it back or never accepted the offer.
Well, hey, since we have all this time with all this
right
social distancing, you need to sit down and actually watch it.
I'm actually putting a dent in my list right now.
I bet.
That's good.
But
that's good.
Not that big of a dent. I mean, my list is still ridiculously big.
Well, I have a few questions if you guys want.
Go for it.
Do it, man.
Do you guys think is there any Jedi from any of the series or any of the trilogies do you think Kanan could beat? Like, where does Kanan rank in the list of those Jedis?
Well, I mean, I think he could beat like dudes like Kit Fisto that the Emperor just like slew immediately.
Palpatine is so strong though. You can't be hating on Palpatine.
But those guys are Jedi's masters.
They're Jedi masters. Come
I don't know. Okay, well, he did beat the Inquisitor, and the Inquisitor, the Grand Inquisitor, was pretty dope.
Okay,
so, Maul too.
Yeah,
he beat Maul too.
Yeah,
I would equate Kanan.
I'd say
early on Luke.
It's like episode 5.
I would say episode 5 Luke. Maybe a little bit early on episode 6 Luke. Like pre-Luke becoming like, Luke. You know what I'm saying?
I'd say he's probably level of Luke by episode 6. That makes a lot of sense.
But he's not as powerful as Luke. Like Luke is like stupid powerful, right? I mean, he's like.
But we never really get to see that.
We don't see that till episode 8.
It's episode 9.
Really?
Pulling X-Wings out of water, bro.
Whenever he friggin' force projects. One of the coolest moments of the whole series.
I wish he hadn't force projected. I wish that was legit him.
I love the projection. That's such a cool.
I mean, it is canon. Like, they can do that. That is true.
No, I would say he's in there. Maybe episode 2, Obi-Wan.
I was gonna say the same thing. Episode 2, like Kamino, Obi-Wan.
He could definitely beat episode 2 Anakin.
I feel episode 2 Anakin is a good comparison. Maybe even episode 1 Qui-Gon.
Like skill level, but I mean, he's way smarter than episode 2 Anakin.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just talking about like lightsaber battle.
Yeah. He's probably closer to Obi-Wan as a character, I think.
I would say that Kanan at his peak is episode 2 Obi-Wan in skill level, but also in force wielding as a master. He's still like a young master who's trying to kind of figure out how to train his apprentice. I think that's the best comparison we're going to get.
Yeah.
Would you guys agree with that?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Any more questions? What just got?
Dang, I had another one. I'm gonna be upset that I forget it.
Paul, any more?
Is Chopper the best droid of all of Star Wars?
No.
Who are you gonna say, AJ? Who's?
I don't know. I just
R2?
can't say Chopper. I can't say it's Chopper, but I do love Chopper. I like R2 a lot. I like C-3PO a lot.
Dude,
I'm gonna say Chopper.
I like K2SO a lot.
For me, it's K2SO and Chopper are right there.
K2's legit.
I like BB-8, honestly. I think BB-8's a really fun droid.
Yeah. The droid in episode 9 was good too. I liked it. Where he could say like, "What? No, thank you."
No, thank you.
The little cone head.
Yeah.
Dude, they Chopper's great. Don't get me wrong. I love Chopper, but R2 for me is got to be number 1.
No.
Do you think
such a classic?
Oh, go ahead, Luke.
I already said my top 3 episodes. You guys, off the top of your head, what do you guys think?
Top 3 episodes.
Season
probably.
Go ahead, Luke.
Finale has to be one of them, right? I mean, come on.
Kanan death. Ezra sacrifice and Ahsoka Darth Vader.
Yep.
Yeah. Season 2 finale. I don't know order. I'm just trying to think of episodes at the moment. Yeah, season 2 finale. Yeah, that whole Maul
come on.
start. Dude, I actually really like the first episode with the clones back.
Yeah,
like where they're on the desert planet. I really enjoy that.
And they chop up, they shoot that giant like weird animal in the desert, and they eat it.
Yeah, and then
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Well, and that's whenever they explain the scars on their forehead. They cut out the chips. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Another character we didn't talk about was in Rogue One. Lazy Eye.
Saw Gerrera.
Saw Gerrera, yeah.
He's in the Clone Wars too.
They kind of explained him a little bit in this, which was good because there wasn't because we saw him in the Clone Wars, and he was very young, and then he was in Rogue One, and he was known as this like kind of like rebel outcast kind of thing, and this crazy dude, and they explained that a lot in this series because I disliked him as a character. Did you guys like him as a character in Rebels?
I don't think you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Because he's the same character in the Clone Wars as a young version of himself.
Yeah.
And he's the same character in Rogue One. You don't necessarily like him, but you don't dislike him. He's just kind of there. He just he has the right motive, but just the wrong way of going about it.
I mean, it's even like, I know you haven't played the game, AJ, but it's like the mission in the new Star Wars game where Saw Gerrera shows up. You're just like, dude, why are you doing all these dumb things?
True.
He just, he's the same guy. He got mad because his sister got murdered, and then he's just making bad decisions ever since then.
Doing whatever, yeah.
Did y'all feel? I felt like in Rebels they worked really hard to make sense of a lot of mistakes in the prequel trilogy, or even the original trilogy, or especially the sequel trilogy.
Example?
I can't think of an example off the top of my head. Let me I don't know, I just felt like there were multiple times in Rebels where I was like, holy cow, they just did that in like about the same timeline as episode 7 came out. Or episode 8 came out or whatever, and they just mentioned little subtle things, or they did little subtle. Did you guys notice anything like that?
They did. I can't think of any specific example, but I do remember sitting down watching and thinking like, oh, that makes sense now. Oh, like they I know, here's an example. They actually have an issue with fuel in this.
Yes, that was one of the things I thought about, was people pooped on episode 8 for not having fuel because we've never had that fuel problem before. And then Star Wars Rebels comes out and they run out of fuel all the time.
Yeah, that
was one of the things that I thought of for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, that makes sense.
So that's the one I was thinking of. But there's a lot more that I thought of that I was like, man, I don't know if this is actually the reason why they did things like that, but it felt like they were covering for people because they felt like people were already like, like they made this terrible decision over here. And so Dave Filoni's like trying to do them a solid,
It was a good cover up. They were able to cover up a bunch of stuff or add more context at least, because in the movies you're only given that limited amount of time. In TV shows you're given seasons, seasons 20 something episodes.
That's another good point about. I think that Star Wars just kind of does that with the TV shows, because of like the Force healing in Mando.
Yeah.
So
the Force healing in Mando is like a like a foreshadowing of Rey using that in episode 9.
Right, exactly. That's
for sure.
So I don't know.
The animal connection weirded me out for a while. It felt very Harry Potter-esque. I don't know how much you guys have read Harry Potter or anything. But,
oh yeah.
Where Harry can like talk to snakes and like people who are like animagus and whatever, but I don't know. That just felt very not Forcey, not Star Warsy.
The animal stuff.
Yeah, but it worked. Like it worked in the end for me. Like it was cool by the time that it paid off in season 4 with the wolves, and then obviously at the very end with the finale where Ezra calls in the
space whales.
The space whales, which are ridiculous looking, but still pretty cool.
Hey, they made an epic entrance, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think it just kind of shows the unlimited potentials of the Force. What I mean?
Well, and it was interesting because that was like his own, like that was his unique power, right? Like nobody else has that. We've never seen anybody else with that power before.
Right, and
so that was really cool.
Funnily enough, that was something else in this new video game that like it seems like certain Jedis, some have distinct powers, like the main character in the game, like he got like when he touched certain things, he would like see what had happened and have vision. So I mean, yeah, it's weird, but yeah, I think that it's just kind of a way of saying that different people have different experiences with the Force. So,
any other questions, guys?
I think
not a question, but are they so? Rebels ended with Sabine and Ahsoka going to try and find Ezra. And this was like years later, so everyone gotten older. Right. Like Herod had a child and everything, but who knows? Who knew she was pregnant during the finale of Rebels? Because they said that was Kanan's kid.
Right. I feel like it was said. Anyway, doesn't matter. Continue, Luke.
But yeah, so to find him, I heard. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard they're gonna like continue the story in like October or something, or it's supposed to come out like later this year, like a definitive, like wrap it up, like they find Ezra and everything, kind of like what they were doing with season 7.
Yeah, I heard Dave Filoni wanted to go back and do something similar to what they're doing with Clone Wars right now, which is kind of tie up all the loose ends and end on like a stronger note. But I didn't know that was actually happening. I just knew that they talked about it.
Yeah,
I'd love to see like an old Ezra.
But yeah, I don't know how far in the future. Does it say how far in the future it is? 5-ish years is what I kind of assume.
I thought they had aged. I thought it was
maybe
like
10.
Yeah, closer to 10. So
and then Sabine and Ezra have kids, and they become the.
Yeah, because I want to see old Ezra. I want to see what he's like. I just seeing another powerful Jedi would be super cool.
Yeah, no, I'd for sure watch the season 5. It'd be awesome.
It'd be. I think that's what they want. If they do another series, I think they're gonna do the next one. They're doing the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool. There's just so much potential for Star Wars. It's the same as the MCU. I mean, it's just like there's so many different ways to go. It's such a broad universe that they've created. You know. But
yeah.
Anything else we need to talk about?
No, that's all I got.
Think I'm good.
That's fun. I like the bonus features. Those are fun episodes.
Yeah, we don't do them nearly enough. But once you finish Chernobyl, we might have to do one on Chernobyl.
Yeah, I'm almost done with it. I'll probably finish it tonight or tomorrow.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. That's all you guys got. We'll sign off then. Thank you guys for watching this bonus features. It was fun to talk about Star Wars Rebels, and we'll catch you guys next time.